G'day again, John down under Tunage here in Melbourne, Australia. We're currently in lockdown, so it gets a bit difficult to do videos, and yeah, it's a bit hard to get the house free where I can do videos without interfering with the others in here, but I've got a chance to do something. So what I'll do is show some of the recent finds that I've got that are female oriented. So yeah, it's sort of either women in bands or on their own. And the first one to show is this is an Aussie sister duo, Cheetah, which is Chrissy and Lindsay Hammond, and they were on the Albert label in the 1970s in Australia. This is actually a Japanese pressing that's a promo on the Columbia label. And this is a different cover to the one that we had here in Australia, which I don't have, but I do have the European. Which is this one. And of course, yeah, one of the songs was Spend the Night, which was on the hype sticker. There's the European edition of their album. And there's Lindsay, the blonde, and Chrissy, the brunette. Yeah, good rockin' girls they were, and they did the countdown. They had a 30th anniversary in 2007, and these two girls still rocked it, so they looked hot even, like 30 years later. So that's, yeah, respect to the two girls, rock and roll women, and Cheetah. Next, bit of a, you'd almost call this a guilty pleasure, I think. This is Pat Wilson, Bop Girl. She was, at the time, Ross Wilson's wife, who was in Mondo Rock and once was in Daddy Cool. And yeah, she had the song Bop Girl. And if you look at the video, you'll see a very early Nicole Kidman in it when she was just a teenager. So that's one to look out for. Bop Girl from Pat Wilson. Next, a 12-inch of, this is Vita Beats, an Aussie duo, sort of that, a little bit industrial type, hard beats and whatnot, and yeah, Vita Beats. They had the song called Boombox. That was quite a popular one in the mid-ish 80s here in Australia. And this is 12-inch, the beats before the boom. Next female is Antoinette. This is roughly 1990, which is pretty well near the end of the vinyl here in Australia. This is Burnin' at 20 Below. That Betty Booish, sassy sort of singing style. And yeah, so it was a good one to find. Next one took me a long time to get, and that is Diamanda Galaz. Just at the start of COVID in 2020, she announced that she was redoing some of her catalogue that she got back from, she was once on mute. And yeah, I obviously ordered this February last year, but then of course COVID messed things up, and it took over a year to get here. But I'm happy to get it. This is the deformation piano thing that she's got, just piano only. There's no vocals or anything, and anyone who knows her piano style, she's very, very heavy on the keys and absolutely gives it a thrashing, so I wouldn't want to be a piano when Diamanda's ready to play. But this is a single-sided, I guess for about 20 odd minutes. It's called Deformation. And this, yeah, was a 2020 issue. So yeah, you get, that's the actual music side, and the other side is blank. And with the same order, I ordered she's redone the Litanies of Satan, which was her first sort of main album from, when was this, I think 1982. And you got, yeah, this is utterly intense, and intimidating and all that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been reissued now. So that's yeah, a good one to have for the collection. And yeah, side 1 is the Litanies of Satan, and side 2 is the Utterly Crazy Wild Women with Steak Knives. So that's Diamanda Galas, and a couple of records that took a long time coming for me collection, but I'm glad I've got them now. Next up is a recent discovery, and this is the utterly entrancing Louise Patricia Crane, who's a British girl, and this is the album Deep Blue. And my version is the blue vinyl. And that's it there. Now Louise was, or could still be, in a band called the Eden House. That's where I first heard of her. Yeah, that's the artwork on the album. And that's Louise there. Yeah, like I said, she was in the Eden House, and I got onto her from this album they had. This is a live. There's two. It's called Live in Session. They're sort of what you call goth with a little bit of atmosphere to it, sort of atmospheric. A couple of the people were once in Fields of Ophelia, if you remember the 80s goth scene. Fields of Ophelia were one of them, and yeah, this is a live album where one side was Patricia's, and the other one was the yeah, one of the other female vocalists they had was Monica Richards, who was once in Faith and the Muse, but also Louisa gets to do a couple of the songs on this album live, sort of an album, sort of an EP, but yeah, highly recommend you look them up if you haven't heard of them. Yeah, on her, on Deep Blue, she has a couple of well-known, yeah, two of the fantastic songs on this are Deity and Ophelia, and I'll put a link to them if you want to see what the videos are. Yeah, she's utterly entrancing, very gorgeous, and I think she'll go somewhere in the music industry. That's Louise Patricia Crane, and the album is Deep Blue. Then I got I found a 12-inch single from AdultNet, which was Bricks, who was once in The Fall. Well, she ended up going back to The Fall after trying to do this. This is AdultNet, that was her band, and this is the song Take Me, a 12-inch. So there's yeah, Bricks and AdultNet. And this is Propaganda and A Secret Wish. So that's yeah, that was a good one to find. Now we'll move to some Aussie ladies, and Do Re Mi. That was Deborah Conway. That was her band in the mid-ish 1980s, and the song on this one that was most familiar to Australia would have been Man Overboard. It's a really very intense and very good song. So that's Do Re Mi and Domestic Harmony. Next, I've got about 3 albums from this woman, which is Sharon O'Neill. She was once a New Zealander and then moved to Australia, which quite a few people done. This is the album Maybe, which was the name of the title track from this. Brilliant song. This is her album from roughly 1981. And there's Sharon there. So yeah, this is an early one that we got here in Australia. Another one of hers was Foreign Affairs. This is later into the 1980s. And the main song off this was Maxine. That's quite a well-known track here in Australia. And the other track that was well-known here was Losing You. So that was... that's an album by Sharon O'Neill and Foreign Affairs. Now, I got this one at the same time, but I sort of don't know much about this album. This is Danced in the Fire. It's one of the blurriest cover photos I've ever seen. And that's it there. Yeah, I don't know if any of these actually made the charts from memory, but I haven't had a chance to spin it, of course, because of the domestic stuff with COVID and things. But yeah, I'll look out. Yeah, I look forward to having a listen to this and see what it's like. Yeah, this is in the later 1980s, I think. Then I'll do a little bit of a French three-peat. And this one recently found is this is Charlotte Gainsbourg and Rest, and this had a song on it that it's one of those where you just stop in your tracks. Luckily the radio back announced it so I could find out what it was, and then went and chased this one up just a couple of weeks ago actually. So that's Charlotte Gainsbourg there. I think this is 2017, which was her most recent release. But the song on this that utterly entrances me is Deadly Valentine. So yeah, I'll leave a link to that. If you don't know what that sounds like, I'll put it up because it is one of the most gorgeous things I've heard in a long time. So that's Charlotte Gainsbourg and the album Rest. And of course, Charlotte Gainsbourg was the daughter of Jane Birkin, and she was married to Serge Gainsbourg, the French guy. And of course, they had that famous song Je t'aime that I'm sure quite a few people know. And yeah, there he is there. And another brilliant song on this that's really gorgeous is Jane B. That's a fantastic track as well. So that's this is a re-release of the. This would have come out very early 1970s, I think. But this is a recent repress of it. And Serge Gainsbourg ended up being an absolute drunken bit of an idiot at times, I think you could call it. And he famously clashed with the female singer of this band, which is Rita Mitsouko. This is the No Comprendo, French absolute classic album from 86 or into 87. We had this C'est Comme Ça, the song off this used to be played on Rage, and if you've ever seen the video for it, it's utterly incredible. And holds up even to this day. It's just a brilliant track with there's a monkey and a dog nodding his head, and Fred Chin uses a very quirky camera angle on his guitar. It's just utterly incredible. If I remember, I'll put a link up to that as well. But this is an actual Australian pressing that has Marcia Baylor on it as well, which wasn't on the UK pressings. I've only just recently got this one, and C'est Comme Ça was the main one. Andy was another song off it. But Marcia Baylor was on just the first album, but for the Aussie pressing, they've added it on as well. And he had Gainsbourg and Catherine Ringer, she's the female, and they had a massive, I don't know, tete-a-tete or a bit of a head clash on one of the French chat shows. And he sort of slagged her off for her past, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend you look too deeply if you're sort of easily offended, because she did have a very interesting past before she did the music. But yeah, Gainsbourg was slurring and drunk as everything and paying out on her, and she gave back as good as she got. So yeah, respect to you, Catherine, for doing that. And yeah, Serge also had another infamous episode with Whitney Houston. So if you want to do a bit of delving on YouTube, you might find out what happened there. But yeah, so that's the Gainsbourg reference for this, but utterly fantastic. It's all in French, of course. But yeah, the No Comprendo from Les Rita Mitsouko. And finally, this was an utterly captivating find. This is Annette Peacock and The Perfect Release. Yeah, this has just recently come out. It's a repress. This is come out on red vinyl. This was, what was this, roughly 79, I think. Yeah, I think the original came out in 79, but this is a 2021. It's only just come out. They also have repressed X Dreams. That's another fantastic album by her. Annette Peacock is sort of one of those, she was the Moog synthesizer, one of the very few first people to use that in music. And she's sort of a jazzy, chilled, chanteuse sort of singer. Very hard to describe, but if you know her stuff, you'll know why a lot of people really like her. And I'm a big fan of hers, and so I was happy to find this just the other week, and that's Annette Peacock. So there you go. There's a few of the females that I've got recently added to the collection. If I get a chance, I'll do a male one as well. I've sort of separated them for now just to quickly get a video done before the other people in the family get home. So for all those who watch, thanks very much, and I'll catch up with you again sometime in the future. And until then, see you later.